Okay, up next, Dale Earnhardt Jr. He drives the number 88 National Guard Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. And certainly, Dale, big news coming out of your camp today regarding Nationwide being a sponsor on that race car starting next year. It's that's got to be a big deal for you guys, and maybe talk a lot about that, and then maybe segue into just racing here at Talladega. Certainly a place that you're very, very, very popular at.
Thank you. Yeah, we're really excited to be able to announce the sponsorship with Nationwide as it continues to grow. We've had a relationship with them for a very long time. It's been successful on both sides, and I'm really thrilled to be able to go to the next level with them and allow Hendrick Motorsports to be part of that. And it's a great fit. We've had a lot of fun together, and I'm excited to be able to continue that relationship. And so it's a good thing for me. And we were obviously looking for a good fit and looking for something that would work out well, and I can't imagine a better scenario. And I think Nationwide's very excited to get going and start working together in the Cup Series. Our current partners, National Guard and Diet Mountain Dew, are very excited about it as well, to have them in the fold. So just a lot of good things. Excited to come here to Talladega. Really enjoy racing here. It's a very laid-back atmosphere and a fun racetrack. Looking forward to seeing how well we can run with JR Motorsports on Saturday, and obviously working on our car throughout the weekend and seeing what we can do on Sunday. It should be a lot of fun. Enjoy these type of races, and been looking forward to it all week.
All right, thank you, Dale. We'll start with Tom Jensen.
Hey Dale, Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. We're going to have knockout qualifying for the first time tomorrow. What do you expect? Are there going to be big packs for speed or smaller groups to avoid the wrecks and the calamity?
Nobody knows. I just don't know. We'll just have to see. We'll just, the guy that gets the pole is going to have to hit it just right. We built a brand new race car, so our willingness to take risks is going to be pretty limited throughout that process. And we just need to get into the field with the car. It doesn't really matter where you start, other than just picking on pit road. So not sure exactly what our approach is yet. We still got some conversations to have between Steve and our teammates, and just sort of feel out everybody's opinion about what they want to do and how they want to try to accomplish the best result they can. But I don't think right now anybody has any answers. Yep.
Going to back there to Kelly, and then we'll come up to Ed. Right there over your left shoulder, young lady. Thank you.
Kelly Cranon from Popular Speed. I'm hiding behind the cameras, Dale. You went through a period where you were really down on yourself when it came to plate racing. You said you couldn't figure out what line to get in. You seemed a little frustrating. Then you reeled off a couple of second-place finishes in Daytona, second here last year, and you won the 500 earlier this year. So I'm just curious where your plate racing confidence is coming into this weekend now.
It's pretty confident. We as a team, I think, improved our emphasis on our plate cars to be able to improve their performance. I think that started to show in the last 12 to 16 months. And when me and Steve first started working together, our confidence or really our focus was more on improving ourselves as a whole. And we really didn't focus on the plate stuff as much as we needed to improve everywhere. So we had to kind of put our emphasis on the plate tracks on hold for a while to try to get our team in the right direction. And I think that started to happen where we're running well enough everywhere where we can start to put a little more care and preparation into our plate track cars, and that's definitely showing in the results. So it's just, you show up here sometimes and you have great race cars that do a lot of good things and are very effective when you're moving around in a draft. And there are times when you show up and for whatever reason, the same car that I ran second with in Daytona a year or two ago wouldn't hardly run down here for some reason. We just couldn't get anything accomplished, and we would get stuck in the pack and just boxed in where we couldn't go anywhere, and the car just wouldn't react the way we needed it to be able to move forward and be aggressive with the passes that we wanted to make. So it just depends on, whether you hit everything just right, and it all starts with preparation at the shop, and I think we've been doing a really good job of that here lately.
We'll go to Ed, Nate, and Rick. Go ahead, Ed.
Ed Hinton, ESPN.com. Over to your left, Dale. As pumped as you were after winning Daytona, and now coming back to a place that you pretty well owned for a few years there, specifically about confidence, how much does all of this translate to? You've always talked about making the moves during the race and deciding whether it's the right move or the wrong move, and sometimes just taking a stab at it. How much does all of this translate now to your confidence that when you get in this race, and if you get down toward the end, that confidence that the move you choose will be the right move?
The car gives you the confidence. When you're driving the car and you get a sense of the car's ability, the car gives you the confidence. And then when you're thinking more positively, you tend to see positive results. I mean, no matter what you're doing, whether you're driving a car or whatever, if you're thinking, hey man, I need to make this move right now, but I don't believe in the car, then the result is typically not what you expect, not what you're wanting, and more of what you expect. So when the car's very good and you appreciate what the car's doing throughout the day, you tend to expect it to make the moves you want to make and accomplish what you want to accomplish in the draft late in the race. And realistically, those results are pretty much come true, when you have that kind of confidence in the car and yourself. It's a process throughout the whole weekend, really leading up to the race and throughout the first part of the race that builds that confidence.
Let's go Nate, Rick, Bob, and we'll end with Randy.
Nate Ryan, USA Today Sports, to your right. Going back to the Nationwide Series announcement, I know they made that announcement last year independent of today's news about leaving the series as the title sponsor, but their move to your car effectively leaves a circuit where you field cars looking for a primary brand. Does that say anything about the Nationwide Series, do you think, or is it just reflective of Cup's always going to be better in terms of exposure than the junior tier circuit? I guess what I'm asking is,
Sure.
what does it say about the sponsorship situation in Nationwide Series?
I think it says a lot about the direction that Nationwide wanted to go after their involvement in the sport for some time, and that they wanted to move forward and do something new with their objectives. And I also believe, from what I'm been hearing behind the scenes, that the opportunities and search for a title sponsor in the Nationwide Series won't be a challenging one, and that there's some good interest there. So those type of sponsorships, although both of them are involved in the sport, they kind of accomplish different things, and I think that this is a direction that Nationwide wanted to go after what they were doing was effective, and there'll be some opportunity and there's some good interest to fill that void. And I think that the Nationwide Series currently is very healthy due to what Nationwide's been able to accomplish in the series, and also as the sports sort of reset and rebounded from the economical struggles we had several years ago. The teams are getting more healthier, and we're seeing a lot more interest on teams wanting to get on the quarter panels and the hoods of these race cars, whereas for a long time there was a lot more interest to being an official sponsor of the sport and more tied to the sport as a whole. Now we're seeing a lot more interest in guys wanting to get back on the quarter panels and hoods of these cars, and I think that's really important to the health of the sport overall.
Let's go to Rick, back there in the orange. Rick, Bob,
Hey, Dale.
and Randy.
Dale, Rick Bonnell with Charlotte Observer. Just in general, the whole business of sponsorship, is it changing enough? Is it evolving in a direction where it's going to be truly a rarity for any one entity to sponsor one car for an entire season?
Yeah, I think that's true. And that's just something. I don't know that that's a sign of anything positive or negative. I just think it's an evolution of how sponsorships have changed, much like, we used to think it was a wild thing when a guy would have 2 race cars out there instead of nowadays there's teams, there's owners that have 4 race cars and 3 race cars, and that's the norm. It's just the way things kind of evolve over time, and I think that it's really it's a lot busier when you have multiple partners, and it's a lot more entertaining and interesting as a driver for sure to have so many partners to work with and have so many people across so many different that can reach such an audience. So I'm really enjoying having multiple people to work with each year, and we all sort of learn from each other and how to market and how to reach as many people as we can. So it's been very, very effective, and we've had a lot of success with it.
Dale, just to follow up real quickly, is that creating sort of a stress aspect to it, though? You don't necessarily know going into the season exactly who's going to be behind your car for an entire year?
No, not necessarily. Not for us particularly. I know that in certain instances with certain teams, there's definitely that stress, and we feel that somewhat at times in the Nationwide Series. But at this particular point, we're very healthy and we have a lot of interest. But there are times if you go back 3 or 4 years ago, where every team was having a difficult time finding the proper funding to run the full schedule. But so I know there are teams in the series that struggle with that every year. But at this particular point, the sport's gotten so healthy over the last 3 years. There's been a lot of growth and a ton of interest, and I think that's not reached its peak yet. So that's good for everybody.
Final 2 questions. Bob Pockris, Randy Kovitz. Go ahead, Bob.
Bob Pockris, Sporting News. I know, from everything I understand, you're a pretty frugal guy. So could you ever imagine, if you were ever to get married, that you'd spend $2 million like the National Enquirer says that you're going to be doing later this year?
Yeah, I definitely would have a hard time writing that check. So, no, of course not. I wouldn't force everybody to go down to Daytona for my wedding. I'd probably just have it right there in the backyard, but whatever's easiest. But that was funny. I read that, and I just was, it was a roller coaster of an article. Pretty good. I didn't. So we just skipped the engagement, I guess. Went right to the wedding.
Final question, over here to your left.
Junior.
If you like that. Yeah.
Dale, over here.
Yeah.
Randy
Yes, sir.
Kovitz, Kansas City Star. Another off-the-wall question. Next weekend in Kansas, it's Mother's Day weekend, and we're doing a package on NASCAR moms.
Mm-hmm.
What would your mom mean to you, and how did she help you along during your childhood and rise all the way to where you are today?
Yeah, I don't have enough time to answer that to give it justice, but she was from a racing family. Having, obviously I loved the sport when I was a little kid, so I was so lucky to have it on both sides of my family. My parents split up when I was really young, but no matter where I was around a race car, which I really, really appreciated, because the G's, my brother was a G, Robert G and Robert Jr. and all them, they raced and did things differently and approached racing differently, so it was fun to sort of learn from both sides. She had a huge influence on me becoming a Washington Redskins fan, which I really appreciate to this day. And she just worked really hard, and she had a hard time giving up custody of me and Kelly to my father in 1981. But she just knew we'd have better opportunities and a better life in that situation, so that was very difficult. And she fought with that internally for many, many years. It was a real joy to be able to have her husband Willie retire from his job as a fireman, and them be able to move to North Carolina and be close and be able to really become more of a part of her life again. She's got a great sense of humor and very sarcastic, and I really appreciate that. And just a ton of fun to be around. You know, if you want an honest opinion and you want the truth, even if you don't want to hear it, your mom's the best person to go to get it. She doesn't have a filter, and she'll steer you down the right path every time. So it's great to have a relationship with her that I have today, and she's a huge influence on my life and has been for some time. Yep, thank you.
We're going to fit one more in, Dale. I'm sorry. Jenna had a question.
No problem.
Let's get her a microphone.
Jenna Fryer, AP, you got first quarter driver of the year this year. You'd never won that before?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay. So now that you've won it and you're putting together such a good start to the season, how did you feel about that?
Well, I just think it's obviously we would really be happy to win the award outright. To get it quarterly is a sort of a nod to how we've performed. It's good that the media sees the performance, because it's as much as we love to do a lot of things for ourselves, we really get a kick out of when the media and obviously our fans see the performance and acknowledge it. So that getting that kind of nod was a great feeling, and because we've worked so hard to be able to be this competitive, and we show up every week and we're quick and the car's there, and it's been so long, or I've never really had that, to be honest. I can't even imagine 04 was even that good. So this is awesome that things are going as good. I couldn't be happier with what's going on in my professional life, and it's good to get that nod. It's just a good feeling when I consider the media peers of mine. We all work in this together, and it's just like another driver coming up and saying, man, you drove a hell of a race last week. So it's a good feeling.
Thank you very much, Dale. Appreciate you being in here. Have a great weekend.
Yes, sir.